your funnel will lose hundreds a week because it's not set up properly. I want to show you what to do to not only build it, but possibly fix it so you're not losing money. So this is the overall layout for a webinar funnel. First, you have the registration page that has a form. And once they fill out the form with their first name, last name, email, sometimes phone number, and then they click the button, that leads them to a thank you page where you will have a button that lets them add the event to their calendar. The form itself will then trigger two types of email. One, the welcome email, and in the welcome email, you will want to have a Zoom link, which is the link that you're going to show up live for your webinar, and then the link to add their event to their calendar. Secondly, the reminder emails. As for the reminder emails, there's three types. There's the 1 day before reminder email, there's the 1 hour before reminder email, and then there's the 15-minute reminder email. So there's a reason why there's no 30-minute reminder emails. So when they do add the event to their calendar, usually Google gives it like 30-minute and then they send them like a reminder. So we don't want like a 30-minute reminder from Google and then also 30-minute reminder from you via email. We want to stagger it out so they're really hearing from you like 1 hour and then 30 minutes and then 15 minutes so they show up. Now if that completely went over your head, in this next section I'm going to walk through step by step on each element, how to build it, how it all links together, and I will demonstrate it using FgFunnels and Kartra. If you're building a webinar funnel, feel free to follow along so that by the end of this video, you are going to have the skeleton of a webinar funnel so that you can go in and just fill it in. Also, if you don't have a funnel builder yet, such as Kartra and FgFunnels, and you want to build out your funnel, click in the description box for my affiliate link. Email me that you've joined with my link. I'd love to gift you a complimentary 30-minute one-on-one with me. I can go through your funnel to see if there's anything that I can help with, anything that we can improve on. Basically, this 30 minutes is yours. Before we get started, I want to share that I have actually a checklist of all the things you need to do to build your webinar funnel. I'll reference this checklist when we go through the funnel, so click the link in the description box to get the checklist to go along with this. This will help you make sure that you have every aspect down so that your funnel is not broken. So before we build any form, we need to create the pages, the registration page and the thank you page. So there's a reason for this, and it just makes the build easier. So first we want to go to FgFunnels and then we go to sites, as you can see over here on the left side. And then after that, you want to go to funnels. In funnels, you want to click the top right new funnel button. And then once you click it, it will say create from blank. I would just create one from blank, and then you can name your funnel webinar funnel or name our funnel and then say webinar. I'm going to click into it and I'm just going to go here, sample webinar funnel. So as you can see, I built two pages. So to start building your page, what you need to do is click here, add new step and import. Oh, that's my head behind it. So yeah, this blue button over here, and then you create your page. So it says one is registration page, and then click create funnel step, and then after that create another one, and then you call that thank you page. Once you've created these two, you're good, you're set. Okay, so this is FgFunnels. If you're in Kartra, you want to do the same thing. Go to the top, go to pages on the left side, and then all pages, and then on the top right corner over here, click page, and then choose the name of the page. So I would say registration page. It's up to you how you want to organize your funnels. And then Kartra do have a lot of templates in here. So you can go webinar registration and then pick out any of the templates that work for you. So I've already chosen one, so I'm going to just stick with that. And then repeat the process and also do the same thing and create a thank you page. The thing is, once you've created either of these pages, I want you to publish the page. And there's a reason for this. So in Kartra, you can't move forward with the next step on the form unless you publish the page. So yeah, make sure you've done that. So here is how you're going to publish a page. Go to the top right corner of your page and then click actions and then click publish live. That's pretty much it. That's how you're going to publish a page. So do this for your registration page and the thank you page. And then we're going to move forward to forms. So now that we have the both registration page and thank you form, like the skeleton of it built and published, now we want to do the forms. The form of the registration page not only registers the person, but it brings the person to their next page. So usually in this case, it's a thank you page. Some ideal information to collect from them would be first name, last name, email, and then the occasional text message. And I say occasional because some people send text message like it's a reminder email, and some people don't, depending on what plan you have with your funnel software. So yeah. So in FgFunnels, here's where we build the form. And we go to sites, and then we go to forms. And then what we want to do is click add form in the top right corner, and then click start from scratch. And when that happens, after I created one, I'm going to click sample registration form. And then as you can see, I mentioned the fields that we want to have is email, first name, and then last name. And how do you create this is on the left side, you can have quick add. So you can drag over the email, and that's when you add the emails. First name, drag over first name, drag over last name. And then for the button, just click on buttons, and that's pretty much it. I usually have emails over here. There's a required. I have it as required because you can't really submit a form without it. First name, I will put required. Last name, I like to put required. Some people don't like because some people want to be more anonymous. That's fine, but I prefer to do it. Once this is good, pretty simple, just click save in the top right corner. And then there you have it. You have your FgFunnels form. And then here is where we can create the form for Kartra. So we go to contacts and then forms on the left side. And then we go to add form in the top right corner. So when you click on it, this would come up, and then you can choose your name. And then I usually like to choose model. You can choose the name. So registration, webinar, registration form. And then I would choose the most basic one and then click create. So I'm not going to do this. I already have one created. So I'm just going to click the pencil icon design to show you what's inside. So Kartra forms are a little bit different from FgFunnels, where Kartra forms actually allow you to add the list, add the tag, welcome email, where FgFunnels, that's a separate step. Also in Kartra forms, this is actually where you get to decide where you want to send the people to after they submitted the form. So that's why, remember I told you have to publish your thank you page. So this is a reason why. If you don't publish it, it's not going to show up. Even though it's not built, publish the thank you page. So once we're inside, this is what it looks like. So usually by default, they have the first name above email. I want you to change the email to be the first thing. Once you have the email and then the first name, we don't have a last name. So let's click add field, add new field. And then let's choose last name. And then I prefer mandatory, so I'm going to choose that. Then go perfect. And then submit. The button's naturally already there. We don't have to add it in. We just need to change the word. For example, join webinar or register now. And then what you can do is save progress, or you can save and exit. So I'm just going to do save and exit. So this is the design of the form. So after the design of the form is when you get to choose, for example, I mentioned earlier, where the form goes after they've registered. By default, they usually have double opt-in. What that means is that when they sign up for your thing, they don't get added immediately. They have to go to their email, click approve on that, like, yes, I've signed up, and then you'll get your email. Ideally, I would just get people to just join in because I don't want them to do like the extra step. So I just choose single opt-in. So you can change that, click change, and then do single opt-in. So this success page is what I'm talking about, where basically it says success page, but basically it means where they go after they successfully opted in. So they do have like a default page, but I like to use a custom page, which is the page that we just did earlier, the thank you page. So instead of external URL, I'm just going to do Kartra, no site in particular. If you've built it somewhere else and categorized it somewhere else, it'll probably be there. And I'm just going to choose thank you page and then click save. And then here in Kartra is where you add the welcome email. I like to use this because no matter how many times they opt into your webinar, they will always get the welcome email. It's a setting for that in FgFunnels, but for this, it's just in here. So we'll click email gateway, Kartra mail, the default one, and then it'll set your thing. And then when you click that, then you can write yourself welcome email. So your subject, your welcome, and all that stuff like that. So just write it in here. When you want to add their first names, for example, you want to address them, right? When they say, hey, when you join this, So you can see how this thing like the curly brackets, where you grab this is actually up here in variables. Click that, and then you can choose, you can copy the first name if you want to set it to dear first name, or you want to do the full name, but usually they don't do that. So you can do dear first name and then click space, and then you can click the last name, and then you put it there. So I'm going to save this and then exit, and then we're going to go to the next page. Before we proceed, I'm going to go to the checklist and then to mark what has been done. So we've created the welcome email. Nice. We've also created the form. So yeah, remember, if you want to grab this checklist, go to the description box. It's all there for you to download. Next, back to Kartra and the form setup. So this is where we set the tags and lists. So tags, I like to see it as a way to track their activity. So for example, I want to track if they've received something, if they've joined something. So that, for example, maybe 5 years down the road, you look at this contact and you look at all their tags, you can see, oh, cool, this person has taken all these actions with my business. You know, you could be like, oh, this person joined this thing on this date. They joined this webinar. You know, they've attended this thing. They've purchased this thing. You know, it's a good, or maybe even they book call something. So tags is where I would usually have that first thing before that to track it. So you can create a new tag, click create new tag, and then fill it in. And then lists is, I would see these are the groups of people that you email. So in this case, it would be, for example, there's general mailing list. I would always add them to a general mailing list, so that these are the people that you just email in general. Like every week you email them once a week. So these are all the people that you'll email. But you can also add them to special lists. For example, for the webinar, you just want to email webinar people, so you would add them to a webinar list. For sequences, I usually like to use the form of this trigger, but we'll talk about that later. So for this sequences, let's leave it empty. After this, we're good. For embed, we don't really need this. Analytics, we also don't really need this for now. So for yours in the top right corner, you see it'll be published. Mine is, I've already published it, so it says here. So click that top right corner and then publish your form, and you're good to go. So now that you have the form, let's go add it to the registration page. And before we go there, I want to show you what it looks like. So this is a sample registration page that I built for a client. So in the registration page, usually what I like to do, and I'm going to show you in the builder later, is I like to have the buttons all go to the same form. So remember how I say this section, we're going to add the form into the registration page. So this is what I mean. So when you click on the button, it pops up a form. So all of the buttons of the page all goes to the same form. So I click here, same form. If I click down here, same form. So at the end of your build, ideally you will want to have a registration page that looks like this. Kind of like you have your title, your subtitle, and then you're going to have your button, and then any other content, and then more buttons that all goes to a pop-up registration form. Now, how to do this in FgFunnels. I'm going to show you the builder in FgFunnels for the registration page. You can choose any template that they have, build it from scratch. But to add the form to your registration page, what you want to do is first add a button in. So you go to the top left corner here, click add elements, and then click form button and then drag it down here. So by default, this is what it looks like. On the right side here is where you get to, choose you want to be on the left align, middle align, right align, up to you. So I'm going to delete this and use the default button, the one pretty one. So I see all the things that we're going to adjust is over here on the right side. So scroll all the way down, and then you see how it says button actions and then open pop-up. So you want this to be the action for all of the buttons on your page that goes to the registration form. So now let's build the pop-up. So where's the pop-up is you go to the top left corner here, and then you see pop-up settings, click that, and then this will show up. So now there's nothing in there, right? So you want to click add row, and then add one column, add element, and then click form. So that the reason why we have to build the form first, because if you don't, nothing is going to show up here. So once you've had the form built and published, click this, and then you can click sample registration form. Click on it. Boom, the form that you built shows up here. You can also add other things here. So for example, you can add a sub headline, and then let's move the sub headline up with this arrow, or you can drag it. And then this would say, I always like to say, enter your best email, however you like to phrase it. Do that, and then the form. So this part, super important. This for FgFunnels is where we decide where they go to after they've submitted the form. So what you want to do is click the form, and then on the right side, you can see how on the button here, button actions, redirect to. So I never use action on form builder. The reason why is because it's too complicated. You have to go back to the form builder. You have to make sure the action is correct. I would rather do it all in one place. So I would always choose here. And usually you would want to go, if you want to go somewhere in this builder, I would always just choose go to the next step. And then the next step, meaning when you're outside in the funnel builder again, you can have like multiple, you have like multiple steps. You have the registration page and then thank you page. So the next step just means the next step after that, quite literally. So I would always choose this as the next step. If you prefer to do URL, you can do that too. But just beware, like in the future, for example, you change the URL, but you forgot that this one you put URL, now it stops linking to that page. So ideally, I would always choose next step. So even if you change the URL, nothing happens. Okay, so this is where you decide where they go after they submitted the button. So this is basically how the registration page goes. So yeah, you can design the registration page however you want, but as long as you have the components I mentioned in the previous video in what you need in a registration page. Once you have those, your registration page is golden. Now, in Kartra, so this is the registration page for Kartra. This is their templates, by the way. So what you want to do is click on the register now button, click the pencil icon. By the way, if you don't see these orange sections, if you hover over stuff, it's not orange, you might want to click edit columns here. So if you turn this on, it will edit the columns and not the elements. So if you don't see the orange and you hover over it, you don't see it, turn this off, it'll show up. Once you click the pencil icon and then this on the left side shows up, what you want to do is go to link and then choose pop and opt-in form. So pop and opt-in form, and then when you scroll down, you can see different types of design. I like to choose the most simple one, this one, and then you can drag it and then put it over here. Okay, once you've done that, then you can now edit this. So remember how we previously published the form? There's a reason for that. If we don't publish the form, this is not going to show up. So you click edit style, and then you can choose your opt-in form. So choose the one that we published, sample webinar form, and then click apply. One important thing for Kartra, you do need, once you've configured this, what you need to do is click on this right side little icon here, above my head, and then heart it, save as a favorite section. So the reason why you do that is because for Kartra, each button, you have to set up the pop-up. But now that you've saved it as a favorite, you don't have to rebuild it over and over again. And you don't want to rebuild it again. So when you scroll down, you can see the section that you just hearted shows up here. So all you need to do is just drag it over and boom, perfect. The perfect section that you just built shows up. You don't have to rebuild again and again. So yeah, so this is how you add a pop-up form into your Kartra page. So then once you're ready, once you're good, click publish. And again, if you're watching this and you skip the FgFunnels part, all the assets that you need on like what things you need to have on the registration page is in the previous video. So if you didn't watch that yet, go watch that video so that you can know what things to put in your registration page. And now we can check off some items in our checklist. So we created the registration form, the correct name, and then we also made sure it was linked to the correct thank you page, the correct action. This is more like FgFunnels because we already did that in the Kartra form section. All buttons lead to the correct pop-up action. So you need to go through each button once you're done building it and then make sure they all go to the correct pop-up. So check that if you've done that at the end. And then mobile section, this is like in case you have different, like for example, mobile version, you would build it a little bit different. So sometimes people hide certain aspects of it. So what you want to do is make sure, just go through mobile. So all you need to do is click mobile on the top right corner here, and then you just need to go through it. So click this, click that, and then click link, and then see is this the correct form, and just double check the whole page. And then SEO. So this is another thing that you need to add in to your registration page. Very important. In FgFunnels, what you want to do is go to SEO over here in the top right corner, on the top left corner, and then put your title. So this is what's going to show up here. You know how when you go to a new tab, there's like a title above? So this is where that title shows up. So usually what you want to put here is like your webinar name, and then you can put your business name behind. By the way, the thing that shows up in search results, the first line, the title, that's also what's going to show up. And the description is going to show up what's underneath the search title. So that's when you want to put like if your keywords and stuff like that. So you can add an author, your image, social image, all that stuff. Click update SEO meta, and then let's go to Kartra's. So in Kartra, you want to go to settings and then go to SEO parameters. And then same thing, you want to click your page title, your description. I usually just put the page OG title down here, exactly the same thing. And then there's also hidden behind me right here is the page OG description. I would just put it the same as the page meta description. Yeah. And then image, this is the image that also shows up when you share with social. An image shows up, that's the image that you want to put. And once you've done all that, you can check this off your list. Part 3. So this is the automation part. The part where they get their welcome email for FgFunnels, and also the part where you set how they get their reminder emails, if there's like a text message reminder, all that stuff. For FgFunnels, we want to go to automation and then go to workflow, and you want to create a new workflow. So go on the top right corner here, click create workflow and start from scratch. So this is what it looks like when you start from scratch. You will see absolutely nothing inside. So click up here and then rename your thing. But for me, I'm going to go back and use the one that I've already built. So this is what it looks like when it's built. So in automation, there is 2 things. There's always the trigger and then there's the action. So for trigger, it's usually the form, or is it like a tag or things like that. But in our case, for a webinar off funnel, it's the form that triggers what happens after, which is the action. So in FgFunnels, the trigger, we want to click form. So in add trigger here, I already have this, but I'm just going to do it again. So click add trigger, and then you can type in the word form, and then form submitted, and then add the filter. Form is sample registration form. And then you can always add filter to it, but honestly for form, that's enough. So I'm going to also rename this so that you just know from the outside what it is. So I'm just going to cancel. But once you've done that, so this is what it says. Whenever you name it, it's called Evergreen Webinar, and form is sample registration form. For FgFunnels, what you want to do is, if somebody has unsubscribed from your emails, they can't get this, right? So it's very important for you to set this one thing up. I want you to click the plus, go to DND, and do enable disable DND. What this means is when they come into this, if they are unsubscribed, they will subscribe themselves back in so that they can get your emails. Because if they don't subscribe back in, they can't get the reminder emails and all that stuff. So DND means do not disturb. So if you enable DND, means you've enabled do not disturb. It's like a double negative. So I want you to disable do not disturb. So disable do not disturb for email. Okay, so I cancel this because this is already done. This is also where you add the tags. So tags are done for like a way to track people. Also, if you watch the Kartra part, I've already mentioned this, but tags are done so that you can track their actions. So joined webinar, joined workshop, purchased course, purchase, so specific things in your business. So in this case, I like to add a general newsletter thing. So anyone who has the tag newsletter would get your weekly emails. And then also anybody who has the join webinar. So another thing that you can also add is called tags. So usually I like to use tags as also, by the way, if you watch the Kartra part, I've already said this, but I like to use tags as a way to track their activity within your business. So join webinar, join masterclass. So name specific things in your business, and also organize it in that way. So use like the received, joined, all these words in front so that it's nicely organized. So that in the future, 5 years from now, when you see a contact, you can know, oh, nice, this person has done so much in my business. So yeah. So in this case, I would like to use newsletter so that anyone who has the newsletter tag is automatically added to the general mailing list, which is like the newsletter for FgFunnels. And then I also would probably do join evergreen webinar. And then if you don't have it, you can add the add new tag here and then it will show up. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do cancel. And yeah, so you can add your tag for this webinar here. And then after that, what you want to do is add the welcome email. So click the plus and then type email and then click send email. So here is where you would put in all of the things. Name action. I always like to name it so I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go to the one that I already built, click welcome email. So yeah, name the thing so you know on the outside what it is. From name in FgFunnels, note that you probably use a subdomain. So use a subdomain here, depending on how you usually email people. Subject line, so usually I would say, welcome to webinar name, or you're in webinar name. And then here is where you can send them the details of the things. So two important things that you need to send them is the Zoom link and the AddEvent link, or link to their calendar if you find another way outside of AddEvents. And if you want to send them, like, remember how I told you, you can say like, hey, their name, when the name that they opt in for, you can do that by clicking custom value and then go to contact, not user, contact. Contact is them, user is you. So go to contact and then click first name. So then you'll be like, hey. So for me, when I get the email, it'll be like, hey, Sujing. So yeah. So put in all of your things here and then click save. Nice. So this part is done. And then this next part, the email reminder part, we're going to talk about in the next section number 4. Now let's go to the Kartra part. In Kartra, here is where we will build your email sequence. So we go to marketing and then we go to sequences over here. And then once you click into it, you'll come to here. And then when you will click the top right corner plus sequences and then add in your name. And then this is basically what they see when they unsubscribe. So for example, if somebody's subscribing, like, I don't know why I'm in this thing. Why am I getting this? When they click unsubscribe, this is what they'll see. So usually you say like, you're in this because you opted in for XYZ. So I would use that. Okay, I'm gonna click cancel. But for this, I'm going to, I've created one here. So I'm gonna click the pencil icon to edit it. So this is what it looks like in Kartra. So when you first have it, these are all empty. But remember how I mentioned there's the trigger and there's the action, right? So for trigger, it's the starting rules here. So what you want to do is click the plus sign and then click on opt-in form and then choose your opt-in form. So for my case, it will be sample webinar form and then click save. You can have others too, but for now, ours is just webinar opt-in form. And then after that, for Kartra, since the welcome email is already in the form itself, you would just need to do the reminder emails for this. And list, tags, and all of that, remember, those are all in the form. So we don't need to build this in this email sequence. But this is for the next section, the reminder emails. But real quick, let's recap for the automation part where to do it. In case we didn't do it earlier, is we have to go to contacts, forms, and then go to the form that you built earlier, and then go to automations. So this is where you add the tags, and then this is also where you add the list, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and also this is where you add the welcome email. So the email that they'll get the moment that they join. Part number 4, reminder email. So this is the same part as like the automation. Earlier we did it for the welcome email. Now it's the reminder emails. For FgFunnels, we are back here. And so reminder emails, So reminder emails are a little bit special. So they need to be time sensitive to the when their webinar is going to be live. So let's just say we are having our next webinar April 15, 12 p.m., right? And then the time zone is based on your funnel builder account's time zone. So go and check what is your account's time zone and make sure it's correct. So for FgFunnels automation, when you want to set the time of your event, you actually need to set something called set time. So click set event start date, which is this one. I'm going to click that. And then you need to click the start time of your event or name it start time. So then this case, our start time will be April 15, 12 p.m. So this will basically say this is the start time of the event. It doesn't matter what event it is, but the start time of this. So that once you click save, I'm going to show you how this matters. So when you click wait, you can wait based on like time delay. So like I want to wait 5 minutes, I want to wait 1 hour, right? But then you can also wait based on the event time, which is the one that we just create earlier. So click that one. And then that's when you can say, I want to be before that time I just set, which is the event time. You can be after. So let's just say 1 hour after event, I want to do something. I want to wait all these things until 1 hour after the event. You can do that too. Or the exact time. So exactly when the event start, do a certain thing. You can do that too. So for reminder emails, you want to be before the event time. So click before and then click 1 day. And it also has to go in a sequence. So if you can't go into the future time first and then go into like a past time, it has to be linear. So the time has to go from now until the future. You can't skip dates, So in this case, we'll do 1 day and then choose these last options. So this means that what happens if somebody comes in and it's already like beyond 1 day before the webinar start date that we set earlier. Then if you choose this option, it just means just skip the action. So why these matters? Like, because the email says it's 1 day before the event, right? But somebody come in like maybe 1 hour before the event. And then you don't want getting them you don't want them getting that reminder email. It's 1 day before the event. It's not true, right? So choose skip action and then click save. And then after that, you can add in your email. You can always duplicate. So click this, copy, and then copy action. Or you can just click the plus again and then type in email and then choose send email. So when you type in your email, same thing, rename it so that you know what this is about. And then same thing from name, from email. And then this, you can remind them like, hey, remember this is the Zoom link, this is happening tomorrow, so that they know like, oh, this is coming up. And then I would do the same thing, the same wait step after that. Do the same wait step for 1 hour before. And then you will write your email. Do the same wait step for 15 minutes before. Remember, it's always before and a skip. And then you can write your email. And that's pretty much it for the reminder emails in FgFunnels. Under settings, very important, allow re-entry. So the reason why I prefer this, sometimes people don't know that they've opted in and they want the welcome email again. So I usually allow this so that they can get the welcome email again and again and again. In Kartra, following the email sequence built, this is where we have the reminder emails. So the trigger is form, as we did earlier. And then what you want to do, since the list, tags, all that is already set using forms, what you want to do is just add the email here. So what you want to do is drag the email, send email /SMS, drag it, and then this will show up. So you want to type the email name. I would rename this like based on what the email is. So let's say this is like, I've already had the first two, so I'll just say this is 15 minutes reminder. And then email, select it, and then create. Nice. So it's going to show up underneath here where I kind of left it. I'm going to drag this nicely. So you see how this first one is connected? So technically when you first create it, it's not connected. It's all separate and grayed out. So once you have them all in a sequence and you are like, you want to connect them all, just drag one to the other and then it'll connect itself. And then drag one to the other, it'll connect itself. Okay. And then I'm going to show you what other settings. So For FgFunnels, you kind of need to set the start time, but for this, it doesn't really matter. You can just choose exactly when you want this email to go out. So all you need to know is the date of your email, right? Like the date of your webinar. So our webinar was like Wednesday, 15 April, 12 p.m. So if this is a 1 hour before email, so this should be 14 April, 12 p.m., right? So when you also choose execute at a specific date, what Kartra does automatically is that it actually skips the step for you if somebody is already, let's say if they joined this 14 April, 3 p.m. They will automatically skip this email. So you don't need to do any specific like skip step. So choose the time. So be specific. You have to know your timing. So you have to write down, okay, 1 hour before, 1 day before, what's that? What time is it? And then choose anyone reaching the step for this one. And then here is when you can write the email. So edit the message and then you can write your first name, last name, all that stuff. And that's pretty much it. Once you're good, like for example, when you set this as inactive, right? So once you're good, click activate and then the email will send. So make sure it's all activate before you do it. So same thing. See how this is, it says the time here so that you know exactly when this is going to go out. So this is the one, technically this is supposed to be, see how it says 1 day? Because it's named wrongly. So you need to name it correctly so that you know what email is what. So I'm going to rename this 1 hour before reminder email. So see how the time is set for 15 minutes before? Let's make this the 1 hour before reminder email. So let's go click edit, click the 3 button, click edit, pencil icon. But when you first have the email dragged over, the default is always immediately. So you need to, right after the previous step, it's always like immediate. So you need to change it to execute at a specific date. So we want this to be at 1 hour before, right? This needs to be 11 a.m. and edit. And yeah, that is what we will do for the reminder emails. Finally, number 5, the thank you page. So this is where we want to be the link to add the event to their calendar so their calendar reminds them to attend your event. I usually like to use AddEvent, and AddEvent is completely free, pretty simple to use. Spec your Zoom link in there and then it will let them add the event to their Outlook, their Gmail, all that stuff. Go create an account. And in the thank you page, that's when you want to add the add event link. The first thing they do the moment they join your event is to add the event to the calendar because that's the most important thing. If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. So in FgFunnels, this is our sample thank you page. So usually it's just a simple line, thank you, and then the thing to tell them like, hey, email's coming your way. If you don't see it, make sure to go see it in your promotion folder, yada, yada. And then what you want to do is add a button to this. So click add elements and then click button, drag it over, and then it will show up like this. So I'm just going to click delete for this. But when you click this button, scroll this on the right side here all the way down. And then instead, so in the registration page, we did pop-up, remember? So instead of pop-up, we want to do website URL this time. And then once you've configured your AddEvent link, they will pop up like a really short link for you to use. Check the link first, go to the website, see if it's okay, and then add the link in here. And what I always like to do is open a new tab so that if they ever want to, keep this thank you page on their browser, they can if they want to. But yeah, I always do open in a new tab. So yeah, this is what the thank you page on FgFunnels will look like. And also remember to change the SEO for this page. So go to SEO metadata and then click your page title, description, all these stuff. And then once you're done with this, click publish and you're good to go for your funnel in FgFunnel. Now in Kartra, it's the same thing. We just want to add the button into here. So for example, remember, if you don't see the orange section, click this toggle up here, make sure it's turned off. Then you can see the little orange sections. And then go to components on the left side and then add button. So drag this over, we'll just click it and then drag whichever button style. I'm just gonna drop this here. So by default, this is really what it looks like. So this is what it looks like once you've made it pretty. So I'm just gonna click the edit style for this pretty button. And then I'm gonna show you where to add the link, the AddEvent link to the button. So let me click the pretty button and then that will open up the pop-up so that you can edit the things on the button. and where you want to go. Previously, we did this for the pop-up, remember? So what you want to do instead this time, we'll click link. Don't click the pop-up. Oh, where is it? Pop-up and opt-in form, don't do that. But what you want to do is link to another page. So you want to click link to another page and then link to, there's another Kartra page option or external custom URL. I would choose external custom URL. And then after that, that's when you can put in your AddEvent link in here. And also click open in a new tab, just in case they want to keep their thank you page for some reason. And yeah, also remember to change the SEO for this page. So go to settings and then go SEO, add in all things, and then publish the page. And then once you publish, you're good. You have your webinar funnel like Kartra. So remember, once you've built it, I want you to always go back to the checklist to make sure you have all these stuff in line so that your funnel is well connected, you have all the stuff, and it's ready to go out there. Thank you page, we've added the correct SEO, AddEvent link, the correct SEO, and then automation. I didn't do this earlier, but you correct the same starting point means trigger. You can get this checklist in the description box. And we're done. So what we learned in this video, we've learned how to create a form, how to add the form in the registration page, how to make the form people go to the thank you page once they've registered, once they fill out the form, how do they get the welcome email, how do they get added to lists and tags and stuff like that, and then also how do you send them reminder emails. Now that you have your whole webinar funnel built out, watch the next video to make sure you have these things to make sure that people show up to your webinar. If not, you're gonna have a room full of crickets and you don't want that. And as a reminder, if you do decide to join any of these funnel softwares with my affiliate link in the description, email me, also in the description, so that I can send you a 30-minute complimentary one-on-one with me. Anything I can help, I'm there to help. Let's go.